you know, there are certain common denominators between the types and types of Hindus. You see, there are two types of Hindus. They call them the Aryan Hindus and the Dravidians. Dravidians are the Tamils and the Telugus. They are actually the natives of India, meaning the original people of India. Some 5,000 years ago, an Aryan invasion of India took place. My ancestors, they invaded India 5,000 years ago. And they conquered the land. See, 5,000 years ago. Now, among them now, we have this Hindustani and the Banya people. They worship the same gods. The Tamils and the Telugus, they worship different gods, different names they give. The Hindustanis and the Banyas, they specialize on Rama, Sita, and Hanuman. Hindustanis and the Banyas. They commemorate Diwali a day after the Dravidians, the South Indians. They commemorate Diwali a day before, and the Aryan people, the Gujaratis, the Banyas, and the Hindustanis a day after. You know why? He doesn't know why. So I said, you know what? You see, Rama, we both specialize. Because the Hindustani more easy. It's the Hindustani or Banya. I said, look, you specialize on Rama, Sita, and Hanuman as gods. The South Indians on Shiva, Subramani, Ganesh, and endless other gods. So I said, you know what? Who was this guy Rama? You know, according to the Ramayana, the Hindu epic of Rama, it says Rama was a prince of Ayodhya, a kingdom in central India. His stepmother had a couple of sons. And one day she did something very nice for the old man. Maybe gave him a good massage, you see. And the old man was elated, happy, you know, you don't know how one feels, you know, when you're old and somebody gives you a nice massage, you know, how you feel, you know. So, the old man is elated. He says, look, darling, what do you want? Ask me and I'm prepared to give it to you. So happy. So she says, anything. He says, yes, anything. He's thinking about diamond, gold, jewelry, or a village or a town as a present, you know. What do you want? Ask and I'll give it to you. So she says, no, not now. When the time will come, I will ask. So, a few years later, when the time came that Rama was to become the crown prince, that in the absence of the king, he will become king, and her own son's position will be jeopardized. So now she reminds the old man. He says, you remember one occasion you told me that you're prepared to give me anything? He said, yes. You still prepared to abide by that? He said, of course. I'm a man of my word. So she says, look, I want you to exile Rama, throw him out of the kingdom for 14 years. In the meantime, she knows her children will be in power. Say 14 years, kick him out. So what a thing to ask. You ask me diamond, gold, jewelry, village, town, I'm prepared to give it to you. Land, what do you want? What a thing to ask. He said, look, if you don't want to, you don't. But you said anything. I said, yes, but. I said, look, if you don't want to, you don't. But you said anything. So the old man got caught with his words. So he calls Rama. He said, look, my son, between me and your mother, this is the problem here. I promised her anything, and now she's holding me like that, and she wants me to exile you. And Rama is a gentleman. He said, look, Dad, I don't want you to compromise your promise. If that is so, I'm prepared to go. Voluntarily. So Rama and Sita and Lakshman, Rama's brother, they go out into the wilderness. In the wilderness, the king of Ceylon, Ravan, this is Ravana, he sees the beautiful Sita. Ravan is a darker skinned fellow. Because you see, the equator is passing over the Ceylonese, the Sinhalese, you know, the Sri Lankans, for millions of years. They are better baked than the people from central India. You know, we lighter complexion people, we're coming from the north. You see, the sun is hitting us at an angle. And these dark-skinned people, the sun is brazing them all the time. So this dark-skinned fellow, this Ceylonese Ravan, he sees this beautiful Aryan girl, like a Maharaj girl, like a Singh girl, like one of my daughters. You see, it's this beautiful thing, and he's enamored. He wants her. But he can't go and grab somebody's wife, and he's a sharpshooter. Rama was a sharpshooter. So he makes his brother, this is the history I read in the Ramayana, the Hindu book called Ramayana, the epic of Rama. So, Ravana, he makes his brother by magic, by mesmerism, hypnotism, to appear like a buck, deer. And it goes in front of Rama and Sita. And when Sita sees it, she is tantalized. She wants the buck. She tells her husband. The husband is game, so look, I'll go and get it for you. So he starts chasing the buck. And running after the buck. And when he gets a chance, when he was out of sight, he shoots it, and the thing falls to the ground. So he goes up to the buck. When he goes up to it, he's metamorphosed into a man. And he realizes that somebody is playing a trick on him. If somebody is playing a trick, there must be a motive. Sita's life must be in danger. So he rushes back to Sita, and Sita is gone. She is abducted by this guy Rama. Taken away. Poor Rama, what is he to do? So he goes and finds Hanuman, the monkey god. This gentleman here, the monkey god. You see? He goes to Hanuman, the monkey god, and tells himself, look man, my father kicked me out of the kingdom, and somebody stole my wife. Won't you help me? And Hanuman is a gentleman. He's also a gentleman. He said, look man, I'll help you. By all means. But you can't clap with one hand. You clap with two. So he said, look, you help me and I'll help you. So what you want me to do? So come with me, follow me. So what is it? He said, look, me and my brother are twins. Who says that? Hanuman, the monkey god. He tells Rama, me and my brothers are twins. And my brother has usurped my kingdom. So I want you to help me to get my kingdom back, and I will help you to get your wife back. Fair? So very fair. So come. So they go to Hanuman land. There in Hanuman land, he says, look, I'm going to start a fight with my brother. A duel unto death. Not like they do here. No, this grunting goes on, the tiger singing, and playing. No, it's a real duel unto death. It's either you or me. So he goes and makes an offer. He says, look, brother, we want to settle this once and for all. Let's have it out. And whoever wins, he gets the kingdom. That other guy knows he's stronger than this guy. I said, right, okay, if that is how you want to settle affairs, I'm game. But in the meantime, he told Rama, this Hanuman tells Rama, he said, when I go and fight with him, you shoot him in the back. Finish him. He said, right. So they start a fight, and they're dueling, and after 15 minutes, half an hour, this guy comes back panting for breath. He said, look, why didn't you shoot that fellow? He said, if I go for the next round, I'm finished. He says, no man, between me and your brother, you are so identical. If I tried to shoot the other guy, I could have shot you. So what to do? If I go for the next round, I know I'm finished. He said, look, you put a hanky around your neck, then I know that you are you and the other guy is the other fellow. I said, right. So he goes for the second round with a hanky around his neck, and Rama manfully shoots the other guy in his back. So Hanuman gets his kingdom. And he takes his troop of monkeys, and they go to build a causeway. You see here now, you see, I don't know, it's a bit far for you people. These are all monkeys flying. See, there is a causeway being built. There is Lanka. This is India part. See, this is Rama, his brother Lakshman, and this is Hanuman, the monkey god. This is Shiva, the god Almighty, and his wife Parvati. Right. But this is the causeway they're building between India and Ceylon. And it took them 12 years throwing rocks into the sea. Barbarous Lanka. And after 12 years, they attacked Lanka, Sri Lanka. And they kill Ravan, and they bring Sita back. That is Deepavali. As soon as they came from Sri Lanka to India, that's Tamil land, Tamil Nadu. So they commemorate Diwali, Festival of Lights, happy that, their God was able to get his wife back. Hooray, hooray. Then a day later, the North Indians, they started celebrating. Can you see the difference, the reason? Why the South Indians first, a day before, and the Middle Eastern Indians, or the North Indians, a day after. This is the reason. Sounds very good. Beautiful story. I'm telling them, so, and everything they know. There's nothing new. But I says, you know what? This creates certain questions in my mind. I says, Rama is a god. He said, yes. But I said, he didn't know that the buck was not a buck. Can you imagine? He's God, but he didn't know that the buck was not a buck. Somebody was deceiving him. He's God, but he didn't know, poor fellow. So that's what it looks like. That's what the book says. I said, Rama is a god, but he wants the help of a monkey god to help him. He is God, but he needs a monkey god to help him out of his difficulty. Incongruous. I said, yeah, look, he's a god. And yet, I said, 12 years poor fellow had to wait to get his wife back. You see, Ravan, maybe he had a helicopter or a boat. He took Sita across just like that. Rama took him 12 years to build a causeway. I said, didn't he know how to make a raft? These people that we are talking about, my people. 5,000 years ago, there was a civilization in the Indus Valley. I went to Mohenjo-daro and Taxila outside Rawalpindi. In Rawalpindi, Taxila, there are excavation works going on, and there's a museum close by. I visited it around the 1950s. At that time, I wasn't very much interested in what I'm talking about. No, it was just, casually, just to come and tell people I visited Taxila. From that point, I visited the place. And in the museum, I saw gold jewelry as modern as today's jewelry, made by my ancestors 5,000 years ago. 3,000 years before Jesus was born, they had a waterborne sewerage in Taxila. They made muslin cloth, a yard muslin cloth, you can hold it in the palm of your hand. That nation, they didn't know that deadwood floats. Is it possible? A nation was so civilized. They made gold jewelry, they made muslin cloth, but they didn't know that deadwood floats. As you know, in anthropology, study of man, we learn that mankind knew that deadwood floats long before he invented fire. The primitive man standing by the riverside, the river is in flood, and he sees trees being washed away, and somehow the trees come somewhere nearby one of them, and then he wades in and he gets onto the tree and he sees this carrying his weight, it's floating, and he's jumping, hey, it's nice, it was a nice feeling. He discovered that deadwood floats long before he discovered how to make fire. And yet Rama, poor man, he didn't know how to make a raft. He could have crossed over, he wouldn't have waited 12 years. But the devil, Ravan, this is the devil. Look, the devil did it just like that. Amazing. God, he poor for us 12 years. And he says, look, you my friend, if somebody takes your wife behind the door for 2 minutes, and if you have the power to break the door down, break the wall down, what would you do? You say, break it down. If you have the power, you do it. You wait. Somebody with your wife, your mother, your sister, your daughter, you wait for 12 years to rescue her? What kind of a God are you? Just 12 years? What is that guy doing with his wife? Can you imagine? Because look, anybody steals somebody's wife, there's only one reason. No matter how old the guy is. Nobody steals people's wives to worship them, say, you're my Sita, you're very beautiful, you're very nice. So the guy sees how ridiculous the situation is. Just that you see, my forefathers, they saw the light and they extricated themselves. Or we have another experience. You see, the experience with Hinduism is so vast. But if you look for it, the opportunities are there. Pass it on, pass it on. When you're passing on, you're actually programming him, you're brainwashing him away from what he's holding on to. Because his mind revolts. God! He can't save his own wife. And then somebody abducts your wife and you say, oh Rama, help me, oh Rama, help me. I say, how can the poor Rama help you when he couldn't help his own wife? I had a couple from Rhodesia, old Rhodesia. They call themselves spiritualist white people. They came to the office just some time back. And I said, now how do you people come to find us? He said, no. He says, our priest, when we close for our Christmas holidays, he read from the Quran, the birth of Jesus. And at the end of it, he said that, this book speaks about Jesus and his mother in a nobler and a sublimer terms than anything to be found in the Bible. So they said, where did you get it? I said, look, when I was in Zululand, I was reading the Sunday Tribune, and in that there was an advert, and I wrote for the Quran, and I got it, which he used. So that is where we got our address from, so we come to see you. So very good. And we found these spiritualist Christians. They call themselves spiritualists. They don't belong to any other of these Orthodox churches. They were so tolerant, they were so good, that while I'm talking to them, they're very, very happy with my explanation. But they had an attitude towards all religions, that all religions are the same, and all religions are equal. They say all the rivers go into the ocean, and all the paths lead up to the top of the mountain. That's actually the Hindu program. This is how the Hindus program people. So look, all rivers go into the ocean. You know my message, right? All the paths lead you to the top, means to God. Any path you take, you reach there. See, whether you take Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianism, communism, anything you take, you reach there. What are you worried about? You don't have to become a Muslim, or you don't have to become this or that. You just take any path, it'll take you there. You be a good Christian, I'll be a good Hindu. You be a good Muslim, I'll be a good Hindu. You don't interfere with me, I don't interfere with you. Sounds very, 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 charitable. So these people now are brainwashed with that type of idea. So all religions are the same, and they are all equal. And I'm telling them all religions are not the same, and they are not equal. And the more I argue, the more it creates the impression that we Muslims are very intolerant. He is tolerant, he is prepared to concede that Islam is equal to his, but I'm not prepared to concede that all are equal. And the more I argued, it was creating a bad taste in the mouth. So I said, now let's change the whole situation. So I'm telling them, I said, look, have you visited the mosque? He says, no. I said, come, I will take you to the mosque and see, how we Muslims pray. And they came, take off the shoes. I won't go into details, took off the shoes. While we make wudu, explain, saw the salat. We came out, very impressed. Very impressed. I said, now, have you been into a Roman Catholic cathedral? I said, next door. Next to the Juma Masjid is the Roman Catholic cathedral. He said, yes, yes. So I said, now you know how the Muslims, how they behave in their mosque, you know what it looks like, you know what a Christian cathedral looks like. Have you seen a Hindu temple? He says, no. I said, come, I'll take you. So I took them in my car to Amgeni Road, near that old Greywood. Now, this main station, just a few hundred yards from there, is the largest temple in South Africa. The largest mosque in the southern hemisphere, Durban. The largest temple in South Africa, Durban. Durban is unique. So I took them to the temple. Now, when you tell people that it takes people to the temple. But the Chinese have a saying, one picture is worth 10,000 words. So me telling you, Hanuman, I said, look, this is Hanuman. Ganesh, I said, look, this is Ganesh. We'll come to him again. So one picture is worth 10,000 words. I said, let me take them to the temple. They said, all same? Let me hear, get it from their mouth. So I took them to the temple. We also have to take off our shoes. We took them off. And we went into the main hall. A hall like this, about this size. And at the end of the hall, there were 3 cubicles. But before going to the things, I got the supervisor. I said, look, please, these are visitors from Malaysia, and they like to see what's going on. I said, no, you explain. I said, no. In my mind, I said, let them get it from the horse's mouth. You see? I said, no, please, you must explain to them what is going on, what you have got here. I forced the fellow. He didn't like it. So we started from the left-hand side. There were 3 cubicles, left-hand side. So in that room there, we see this statue. This is the picture, but we see a statue. I said, who's this? He said, this is the Son of God. This is the Son of God. I said, what's his name? He said, his name is Ganesh. I said, oh. Outside, there was something like a bullock, black, made of stone. I said, what is this? He said, this God is looking after that God. Guardian angel. They're like a guardian angel. You're laughing. These are the gods of our ancestors. Respect. This, as it's got a body of a man and the head of an elephant. Can you see that? I said, how does it come about? How can a human being have an elephant head? So the story is that you see, this is the Almighty God of the Hindus. Or we are coming to him. We are coming to him just now. This is Shiva. And this is his wife Parvati. This is Shiva and his wife Parvati. Now Shiva is God. But he thought of going and contemplating about God. So he's telling his wife, seeking permissions, look darling, let me go, I want to contemplate. He's God, but he wants to contemplate about God. So he goes into the Bundus. This is Hindu mythology. So he goes into the Bundus, in the wilderness, and for 12 years he's away, contemplating about God. And after 12 years he returns, bearded, he comes home, and he knows his house, and there outside the house there is a young boy, 12-year-old, son of God. His son he didn't know. See, when he went, he didn't know his wife was pregnant. You see. So by the time he returns, there's a young boy, 12-year-old, is waiting there. Say, old man, where are you going? Old man, after 12 years, man, his wife is there. So get out of the way, you bloody rubbish. He's the son of a god. He's not to be easily moved. Nothing doing. I won't allow you to move. Because he knows his mother's life is in danger. See, he's got that feeling for his mother. I said, no, I won't allow you to go. So Shiva, he takes out his sword and chops off his head. In the meantime, the body falls. His son, he doesn't, this is his son, he chops off his head. So Parvati comes out, so, oh, what have you done, our son? So what? He said, yes, this is your son, what have you done? He said, get the head, quickly, bring the head. What Chris Barnard couldn't do, he said, looking for the head. And you know if God hits, how hard he hits? Across the 7 seas. Across the 7 seas. They're hunting for the head and they can't find the head and the body's getting cold. So he said, look man, any head will do, bring a head man, we'll put it on. So there was a baby elephant grazing there, they chopped off the head and they put it on. Chris Barnard couldn't have done that, I'm sure. Chris Barnard, poor fellow. You know? So he did. That's how he's got the elephant head. So this is the son of God, Shiva is the God and this is his son. He's got an elephant head. This is how transplant took place. That must be about 4,000 years ago. Chris Barnard still couldn't do today. Now we come to the center. The center, the main object, you can't see too well here. Here. You see this there. It's worth visiting. Wallah, we must visit the temple. You know why? Then you will appreciate what Islam has done for you. That had it not been for Islam, your mother and your sister and your wife and your daughter would have been garlanding this. If Islam did nothing for you but save you from garlanding this, I want to know what you're going to pay to Islam for that. Just that. This thing here is the Almighty God. This is the big thing like this, big column like this. It had a crown on top of it. So I'm asking for the benefit of my visitors. I said, what is this? So he said, this is the Almighty God. I said, what's his name? His name is Shiva Lingam. Look, I know what Lingam is. See, Gujarati, I don't know how many of you know Gujarati, but Gujarati is my mother tongue and 40% of my language is Sanskrit. See? And I know, I'm born in India, terminologies and all I know. So I'm asking this supervisor for the benefit of the Rhodesians. I says, what is Lingam?